Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Wednesday, June 20th, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now we are holding right at the midpoint of the previous session's range. One thing we talked about yesterday was the fact that if price pushed down into 27.31 to 27.41, bulls would likely look to come in and defend that zone, at least on the first test, which could lead to another nice push up, similar to what we've seen here in the past. This is kind of behavior that we've been watching over the last few months, right? And we've seen that play out yet again. So bulls came in, defended, closed price back above the 2760s, and left the midpoint there, and now we are seeing a midpoint retest. If you run your rejection day scans in Thinkorswim that I've provided for members, basically you're going to get a ton of candidates that look like this today. Find the best ones with market structure. You should have a really good next 2 to 3 weeks if price can continue to play out as expected. Now, any failure to hold this level or close above, say, 57, 58, that could lead to a failure and a retest of this zone down here. So as long as price remains above 27.31 at 41, we could be looking at more strength toward 28.29. That's the next key level above. The short-term key level, you can see we still have yet to reach the upper high probability target zone, which is between 28.53 and 28.16. So we still have more upside to that zone as long as price can continue to hold the 57 to 60 zone here over the next couple of days. If we take a look here at the NQ, very similar price action. What I mentioned yesterday was that price was below the 8-period average, and so far every time price has gotten below the 8-period average, it has closed back above it ever since we got the breakout here. It's been a very bullish stacked and sloped trend. We saw that behavior again yesterday. We saw a midpoint right here, and so that's where we are again right now. We're looking for bulls to keep the 72.14.5 zone bid for a shot at continuing this thing higher. And overall, as long as price continues to hold that zone, you know, again, we're holding sideways. We continue to hold 14.5. Eventually, if there's another rejection, maybe we do rotate lower, but right now this is a bullish trend, and that could open the door to a move, say from 72.14.5 up to 74.40 over the next 3 to 5, maybe 5 to 7 days. Could be a very, very solid move. So something to look out for there in the NQ. If you take a look at the YM has had a bit more weakness here than the rest. You can see that we talked about price coming back into 24.886 and being a potential buy spot for bulls. And that happened on 2 different occasions here until yesterday, where price went offered through that area. Now price is holding below that zone. However, price continues to hold within the uptrending channel here. That upward sloping channel has been defended at the lower edge time and time again. Do we see that again? If price can continue to hold 24.6, this could be another bounce opportunity that takes us, say, as high as 25.6, 25.8, somewhere in that zone. So it could be pretty significant here how much strength we see over the next 5, 10, maybe even 15 days, if price can hold the 24.6. So failure to hold that level again starts to rotate you down. You have 24K, and then you got down here 23.4. So those are some of the major levels down below. So again, can price hold 24.6 and start to renegotiate back above 24.880s? If so, we could be looking at a push into 25.8 over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Let's take a look now at crude oil. You'll notice right here that crude oil is continuing to hold the 64.24 level. After major rejection here of these lows, 64.24, that's the level that's been held. Inside day at the moment right now stops above 66. So if bulls can continue to hold 64.24 as the absorption zone, we could be looking at a squeeze higher. Now this squeeze, I would not really shoot too far past 67.10s. That level has been offered significantly. But if price can push through 67.10, we might be able to get back to that 68.35, 68.39 zone that we talked about before. Overall, a bounce back into this zone may be met with more weakness, but if price can get above 66s, it could provide a little bit of juice that gets you as high as 70, followed by maybe another wave down. So right now, on the swing move up, stops above 66 and stops below 64.20 right now, and that could lead to the next near-term move. Looking at 6E, this is the euro right now. If I squish this up a little bit here, you'll notice that if I go far enough back, previous resistance is now major support. So you can see right here, that's the 116 level. It was prior resistance. Right here was a change of bias, a defense, and we're sitting on top of it right now at the bottom of this market structure. So at the moment, after a major sell-off, we've now seen price come back into major support at 116. You'll notice right here, this is a short-term swing opportunity. You got a close below 16 and then a pushback. Then you got a close below 16 here, and now price is holding above it with absorption over the last 4 days, just below the previous month's close. So right now, bulls are defending 116 for a shot at looking at a move to beyond these highs into the primary target zone. That's 119. So you could be looking at a 116 to 119 play and as high as 120. So I would say 116 to 119 to 120 could be the pop above, and that could be a short-term move right into the target zone. Beyond that, you know, we could just be still range bound. But so far, this type of behavior looks like a squeeze play that could play out toward this upper zone over the next 2 to 3 weeks. If there's any failure to hold 16, that could be significant on the long term. All right, that is it for now. Let's see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.